Okay, Earl, let's call it a night. Thank you. You're welcome.
I have something very exciting to share with you. A team of paleontologists in China discovered what they believe is the earliest known primate. Joining us today to shed light on this remarkable discovery, Dr. Peter Himberger.
Thank you, Professor. This is Mr. Peepers. As you can see, his eyes are particularly large for a primate this size. Now,
what's a bad miracle? What's that thing in the cloud? And most importantly, what's up with that shoe? Welcome to the Bomb Squad Podcast, episode number 79. I'm your host for today, Austin Zwiebelman. And with me I have...
Tanner Richard Kraft.
I'm Joseph Vernick.
Rein Conversi.
Tim M. Sullivan.
Plus, we have a special guest, returning from a different podcast of ours about outer space, stopping by from his eponymous YouTube channel. It's the man of the hour.
My name is AJ, which is short for Adam Johnston, aka Your Movie Sucks, and I give the Bomb Squad podcast a 6 out of 10. I dipped after 10 seconds.
That's his best rating he can give. Yeah, Canada. Okay, AJ, give the viewers a brief rundown of what it is you do.
Tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Maybe you could give me an example of what a good answer would be?
Hi, my name's AJ, and I talk about movies on the internet. And music, sometimes.
That is rad. I love your channel. He recently put out a big review of several movies. Go check that out. On today's episode of this podcast, we'll be discussing the latest scary movie outing from critical darling Jordan Peele, a film that gave away very little before it came out, but proved upon release that there's great things hiding behind its camouflage. That film, and the reaction that it hopes to evoke, is Nope. Before digging in, we're going to do a roundtable survey about our individual experiences with funny man turned visionary Jordan Peele, specifically the feature films he's made in the last 5 years. I'm going to start off with Tanner.
Well, before his work as a filmmaker, I think I and everyone else was introduced to him through the Key and Peele show. Had a lot of great sketches, my favorite of which being the one where it's for just $1 you can rescue a kid, and then they bring out a van filled with kids. It's a very funny skit. But then after that, of course, I think mine and everyone else's introduction to him as a filmmaker was obviously Get Out, which was just an instant smash. They're very different movies, but it reminded me of when The Social Network came out, in the sense that it was something well-crafted and deeply important, and like most of the culture agreed on it.
How you find me? I'm TS A. We handle
And it was fun, it was horrifying, it was a great crowd pleaser while also being really funny and thought-provoking, and of course terrifying. Great time. I was of course excited for his follow-up with Us. I think there's a lot of things to love about that movie, and I find its commentary interesting, if a little messier than Get Out's, because it's about class, and that's what appeals to me.
Ophelia, call the police.
Sure, playing The Police by NWA.
Coming into this movie, I was excited for Nope because it was Jordan Peele doing aliens, and that's a classic horror thing. Everyone loves aliens, scaring you, eating you, probing you. Back to you, Austin.
Yeah, Universal wasn't able to reboot its classic monster series without a bunch of friction, but Jordan Peele seems to be doing it all by himself. Just one-manning this shit. Joe V, what's your history with Jordan Peele's feature films?
The actual first thing that I had heard of Jordan Peele from before Key and Peele was a little Comedy Central TV show called Mad TV. Because I would watch Mad TV after school.
That's what we talking about.
All right, so Kelty, you open the case.
I really liked a lot of his stuff, so I heard that he was going to be directing a little horror film called Get Out. It was the talk of all sorts of movie forums. It was the talk of my university at the time. I did not see it initially. In fact, I just kind of let the hype surrounding it just kind of die down. Everybody was talking about it, and it was bordering on annoying just a little bit. I watched it, and I really liked it. I think waiting definitely helped. I just had this in the privacy of my own home, so I got to soak in as much of it as possible.
Look, they could have made you do all types of stupid shit. They have you fucking barking like a dog, flying
like you a pigeon.
Looking ridiculous, okay?
A few months after I watched Get Out, Us came out. I actually saw it when it came out on DVD, and you know what? I was not that hot on it. I thought there was stuff in it that was all right, but I think it was not for me. So it kind of hindered some expectations for Nope, but I love it when horror and sci-fi collide, and I may have been watching a certain thing involving UFOs somewhat recently, so it felt like a really good movie for me to watch.
AJ Ford, tell us your history with Jordan Peele's movies.
Here's something you guys probably didn't know. I'm actually pretty passionate about comedy. When I was a teenager, my parents didn't really care what I watched, and through that, I discovered my current favorite comedian, Demetri Martin, The Lonely Island Crew, Tim and Eric, Nathan Fielder, and Key and Peele. And I would constantly quote them, and yes, I do love the movie Keanu as well.
Hey, if you touch one hair on my cat's head, I will kill you! Never mind.
When I was a sophomore in college, a little movie called Get Out was being hyped up all around, and eventually I saw the trailer and I thought it looked goofy as but then I noticed the movie was directed by Jordan Peele, which kind of floored me because back then in my mind he was always just one half of Key and Peele, and I was worried I wasn't going to see past the comedy. But the movie was being hyped up as one of the best horror movies ever made, so of course I saw the movie and was absolutely blown away. The absolute pinnacle of don't judge a movie by its trailer. To this day, Get Out is one of my favorite horror movies and one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. I never thought I would experience actual cheers every time a white person died in the movie. Then Us was announced, and I was hyped as all hell for it. The trailer for that movie was far better than the trailer for Get Out, and I saw that movie, and even though I like Get Out more, Us is still a bone-chilling movie to me.
So if y'all want to get crazy, we can get crazy. Hey!
I honestly could not be more proud of Jordan Peele. He worked his way all the way to the top, and it's so clear he has such a passion for every project that he does. I love it when a celebrity takes the director's chair for a movie and doesn't follow Hollywood formula and just makes whatever they want to make. He also started the trend of comedy actors doing horror movies. With him, John Krasinski with A Quiet Place, and I'm not sure if you guys know this, but there's a movie coming out called Barbarian that's actually directed by one of the guys from Whitest Kids You Know.
Whoa!
What?
I wish he directed the movie Smile so he can direct the actors by telling them to be happier with their mouth open.
I want you to do it again. I want you to do it happier and with your mouth open.
Wow, we got multiple stab wounds on the bodies!
Absolutely wonderful. Rein, what's your history with Jordan Peele and his movies and
I'm really very happy like that because he's got to be like one of the biggest directors right now. Like he's one of the only directors of like the past decade I can think of who's gone big in the past decade. I think of that like just like everyone knows, even my mom knows who he is. What I'm saying is like I'm just happy that just someone makes like just these weird genre movies is just one of the biggest directors right now, and he's like a constant hit maker. All of his movies are hits critically and financially.
You've submitted this to the Golden Globes as a comedy.
I submitted it as a documentary.
Because yeah, you know, obviously he's known as the social commentary director, horror guy, but he's also it's pretty weird, I think, especially relative to like a lot of other, you know, his contemporaries when it comes to horror. I think that's cool. If we're going to do the compare, contrast, Get Out, Us game, I personally like Us more. I think maybe part of it's because like my personal favorite reading of the Tethered in Us is that they're a metaphor for homeless people, which is cool because they're probably the marginalized group that you never really hear about ever in media, so that's nice. His movies are good, and I was excited for this one.
It seems like you like Jordan Peele when he takes bigger swings and goes ambitious, so that makes me excited to hear you talk about No. We got one guy left, that is Tim M. Sullivan. Tim, what's your history with Peele and his movies?
I watched a little bit of Key and Peele when that was coming out, and I thought that they were both very funny. And seeing that trailer for Get Out, and then seeing at the very end from director Jordan Peele, I was just kind of shook, like, really? And then it came out, and I really enjoyed it.
You know, I don't want to get chased off the lawn with a shotgun.
You're not going to. First of all, my dad would have voted for Obama a third time if he could have.
It's just like a very good social commentary on race in America and like a good criticism of white neoliberalism in a land where pretty much every movie is like siding more with the neoliberals, and anything left of that is considered crazy commie shit. Like, I think it's great to have directors like Jordan Peele and Rein who really address this issue. For viewers at home, this joke will make more sense in a few months. But anyway, Get Out was very good. I enjoyed Us quite a bit, even though a lot of people seem to not like it as much. Like, I definitely think it's the lesser movie, but I think there's still plenty to like about it. You can't deny that LaFleur's playing at the end goes hard.
Dude, it's a lot better than when PTA used it in Inherent Vice for like half a minute.
My favorite kind of up-and-coming horror directors of like the more niche realm are like Panos Cosmatos, Ari Aster, Robert Eggers. But I think that Jordan Peele is definitely my favorite like mainstream horror director.
My favorite horror movie trope is everyday objects used as weapons. You pick up a nail gun, it's improvised weapons. There's something about that that's
is like he's even able to, like Rein was talking about, he ties on a lot of these like weirder themes, but he still is able to make like a really enjoyable movie to a general mass audience. And I was very excited to see this, obviously. So we'll talk about my feelings later. Back to you, Austin.
My history with Jordan Peele's 2 feature films only has one real unique element to the story. I saw Us before I saw Get Out. I only just took the time to see Get Out this last year. Tanner was there.
You're welcome.
I saw Us opening weekend in IMAX, okay? Because I thought it had a spectacular trailer. Like, I would compare that trailer to how hype I got looking at Sin City's original trailer. It was a banger. I was listening to Got 5 on it in the car on repeat. I was so pumped for Us.
What does I Got 5 on me? It's about drugs.
It's not about drugs. It's a dope song. Don't do drugs.
I showed up ready to get petrified, and I could describe that experience as by like comparing it to say like how I felt seeing Midsommar after seeing Hereditary, or how I felt seeing Don't Breathe after seeing the Evil Dead remake. It's just one of those things where the experience was great, but too divorced from my expectations. Like, I showed that night wearing brown pants, and I didn't even get to myself. And even though Us was like a mostly beautiful mess, Get Out was surprisingly the modern masterpiece everyone made it out to be. The premise was fantastic and all the kills were super satisfying, but now it's time to discuss that mysterious cloud with the pennant flag sticking out of the bottom. Jordan Peele's most ambitious film to date, costing $48 million more than Us and $64 million more than Get Out cost. Inspired by Jordan Peele's time in the COVID lockdown, this is a movie about how harmful going outside could possibly get.
The Air Force is here with those new round planes.
I can't break free!
Nope.
Let's start off with AJ. What were your overall thoughts on Nope?
Alright, I guess I'll be the first one to say it. Nope is dope.
Oh!
Bam! Got him! No, but seriously, I love this movie. I think that this is Peele at his most creative in terms of filmmaking, especially with the immaculate sound design. The way he uses silence to help elevate the tension felt like something I haven't seen many movies do, at least not as effective as this. The sound design in particular reminded me of a specific fear that I had back when I was younger. When I was in 3rd grade, my teacher brought in a record player that she had when she was a little girl. The way this record player worked was that you crank it and a wire within the record player would tighten up, and when the wire loosened, the music would play in slow motion. And as a kid, I was scared of everything. When I heard that music slow down, I started crying hysterically and had to be taken out of the classroom. I had a nightmare that night because of it.
Nightmare, 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 nightmare.
This is what Peele does to build terror within what's happening in this world, and it's terrifying. There's a sense of isolation and hopelessness within the location of this movie. I hope this makes sense, but it feels like it's impossible to miss something. But with what's going on, even with the wide open space, you can't really make out what's going on. This also brings about some gorgeous and eerie nighttime shots. When it's dark out, it's very dark, with only the moonlight helping you guide your way. So it's safe to say that the way the lighting was utilized was brilliant as well. Hoyt van Hoytma's cinematography is something I've always been a huge fan of, and the way he uses perspective shots specifically floored me. There's a scene where Daniel Kaluuya looks up at the sky, and the camera turns handheld. They make it look like you're looking up at the sky too right next to him. There's also running shots that pretty much do the same thing. Peele has come so far as a filmmaker, and I can't forget to mention, I love the ending. Not everyone will, but I thought it was pretty freaking awesome. This movie was so entertaining to me.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Hoytema since Let the Right One In, but vampire movie from a million years ago? Tim, you're up next. What did you think of Nope?
So I'm gonna start by saying that after Tanner got out of Nope, he texted me saying that there was an Akira reference in this movie.
Oh yeah!
And as I was watching it, I thought that what he was talking about at first was when they have that sequence where people are getting sucked into the cloud monster, because it kind of resembles the scene where Tetsuo is taking in Kaneda and crushing Kaori.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure there was some influence there. But then at the end, the bike slide comes in. That's ruled!
If Jordan Peele wanted to do a true homage, he would have had Keke Palmer on a horse and do the Akira slide there.
That would have so hard, but it would be a logistical nightmare. But like, I was just so happy to see that in live action, because it's been replicated in so many animated things, but it's never happened in live action. I've always wanted to see it in live action. Like, I did a fist pump when I saw it. My girlfriend did a fist bump because she knew how happy I was. Thank you, Jordan Peele, for making my dreams come true.
I loved the Akira slide too.
I got to do it, man! Oh my god.
But yeah, thoughts on the movie. F***ing loved it. I'm still teetering on whether or not I like it more than Get Out. Like, I think it's very close. This just speaks to me on such a primal horror level. Good god, that second act is horrifying. Just like what I was talking about, the whole like sequence where everybody's getting sucked into the cloud monster. As it's flying around, you hear their screams, and then they just stop, and blood comes pouring down over the house. That was damn horrifying. I feel like when he made this movie, like, the first thought that came to his mind was, wouldn't it be funny if I just made a horror movie called Nope? Like, that by itself works well, but then he took it a step further. He's like, if this is gonna work, I have to come up with the scariest premise possible, which is just like, what if a UFO was a giant monster that eats people and turns off electronic devices whenever it's within range? That's just scary.
What did you see?
It was big.
How big?
Big.
And like, before that, we have what is quite possibly the scariest thing I've seen in a movie, which is the Gordy sequence.
Yes!
Holy shit. Just the beginning part where they're showing like the sitcom bit, where like, you know that he's gonna kill everybody, but you're just watching with this incredible tension to see what sets him off. And then you're just sitting there with a child's perspective, with dead silence, interrupted briefly by little balloon pops every now and then. Like you're saying, the sound design's impeccable, and that just made that scene so scary. I don't think I've seen a scarier movie than this since Hereditary.
What?
And like, it's another movie like Get Out, where the more I read about it after the fact, the more I love it. Like, I get a little bit more out of that allegory that they're going for. Like, it's talking a lot about the exploitation in the entertainment industry, and I think it does a really great job at that. And I think I'll enjoy it even more on my second viewing. I can't wait to watch it again.
My fun fact was, I think the monkey that inspired Gordy was actually born in our state. That's right. I think it was Festus, Missouri. Travis the chimp. Shout out for my homeboy. Poor dude. He was just tripping off Xanax one day and ate a lady's face.
You know, I think I ruined the monkey sequence for Joe, because as soon as it started, I leaned over him and whispered, "Monkey."
Tanner, do you want to go?
Oh, where to start with this movie? I think y'all two, Tim and AJ, really gotten a lot of what makes this movie great out of the way. But for me, what made this movie really exciting in general was this is Peele's real blockbuster turn, I want to say. His last two movies were more pure horror, and Get Out definitely had sort of blockbuster feel to it, but it wasn't necessarily a blockbuster. It cost like a ham sandwich to make or something like that. I don't know, I'm not a producer.
$4 million.
That's a ham sandwich.
Right, at the right restaurant.
In some country.
Yeah.
Really good restaurant. West LA, you gotta check it out.
$26,000 for one dinner!
Okay, no, this could be explained.
They're tasting my sandwich, my luxury sandwiches.
The first 2 acts of the movie I thought were really horrifying, really entertaining. I think I might have actually, not kidding, not exaggerating, peed my pants a little bit during the sequence where he's in the horse barn and the kids are in those alien masks and you see the one and then a second one just kind of like pops out of nowhere because it was hiding in the shadows so well.
I love the sort of like Kodama attribute that those little costumes had. Like, it was very much a, like, Miyazaki kind of thing to try and, like, get you on edge, and then he just punches him in the face.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, and then, of course, there's that horrifying when the monster straight up devours all the people at a Jupe's show. I thought that was, seeing the actual insides of it and how it looked like an old camera on the inside almost, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
What made it go from great to one of my favorites of the year by far is a moment after the monster pukes and spits blood everywhere. It's in that fogginess, and Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ is trying to sneak around back into the house, and it's real foggy, and the lighting's really cool. It's a sequence when he kind of puts it together that the monster won't mess with you if you don't look at it. And then the third act happens. Oh my god, I read a lot of reviews that people criticizing the third act, saying it was dumb. And to that I say, you're f***ing stupid.
Halt! You dumb f***!
I was on the edge of my seat. At several points, I punched Joe in the shoulder because I was getting so hyped. Every time OJ was on a horse or Keke Palmer was on a motorcycle was awesome. The shot of the guy being like, I need to get my perfect shot, and then he gets eaten was cool. When the guy wrapped himself in barbed wire so he could survive getting absorbed by him because it would just spit him out was awesome. And then, of course, the chase into the amusement park. So exhilarating, especially because at this point the monster looks like some weird 7-dimensional being, like biblically accurate angel type shit with 72 eyes, you know, that kind of stuff. She takes the monster down and gets her photo. She releases a balloon, which is funny because it kind of parallels the monkey because the monkey was set off by a balloon popping. Meanwhile, this monster is destroyed by a balloon of Jupe going into him. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then what I think actually made me punch Joe maybe a little too hard. The movie milks it, but when it cuts back to Daniel Kaluuya sitting on a horse in that outline, and I literally punched Joe in the shoulder like 5 times.
When he punched Joe, did he say nope and then get out of the theater?
Yes, he did. That is one of the best Gatorade get hyped moments of the year. I'm glad we can bring that in again. And for me, it just represents a big step from Peele of a lineage that I think comes for form. These are all 3 very different directors, but I think they kind of share a common link with their early films. Spielberg, Shyamalan, Peele. In terms of starting off as these horror guys that kind of transition into these blockbuster horror-y things. Close Encounters, Signs, Nope. Not to mention Peele literally lists those first 2 as influences on Nope. Influenzas? I don't know what I'm saying. New Virus just dropped.
I got a lot from Close Encounters. I got a lot of inspiration from Jaws. I got a lot of inspiration from
Scary Movie 3.
It's my favorite cinematography and sound design for the year so far. So great work on this movie, Peele. I can't wait for Nope 2, 2 Nope, 2 No 2P.
This movie's kind of like Dune last year, where just sound design wise, there's nothing that can contend with it. They did a really spectacular job. God, I have been dreading this. Up next is Joe. Joe, please, I'm sure you're dying to tell us what episode of the X-Files this reminds you of. Go ahead.
Oh, this is funny.
So, you're going to be pleasantly surprised because here I am, the X-Files. It's become the new OC. I do not have a single damn episode of the X-Files that this reminded me of, which was astonishing to me. Here's this movie. It's a movie about UFOs. There has to be something.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't find a single damn thing. However, I do have something that it vaguely reminded me of, and it can't be intentional because this is really obscure. But the designs of the aliens that you see those kids wearing the costumes of, they reminded me of one of the little minions that you fight in the very obscure PlayStation 2 game Rule of Bros.
What?
Oh my god.
That whole game is basically a long post-traumatic stress disorder trip. Make of that what you will, but that's what it reminded me of. This movie is arguably going to go down as the movie that has terrified me the most this year. And I've seen a couple of other horror films, but none of them have genuinely terrified me like this one has. So for starters, the Oppenheimer trailer played right before it.
Oh god.
And Jesus damn Christ, that set the tone, because I felt like the damn weight of what it must have been like to create the atomic bomb in a 1-minute trailer, and it just sent my anxiety skyrocketing. And then cut to a monkey staring into a camera, and I'm like, nope, Oppenheimer, yeah, pretty much.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
And then when you get the context of that damn monkey, let's be honest, the most terrifying sequence is probably the Gordy sequence. Not even just that, that alien attack at the amusement park that everyone has brought up. So I have claustrophobia, and I really hate tight spaces.
I'm stuck in this thing! I've lost your
So whenever it would cut to the inside of that damn alien, and we would see the people inside it, I was not okay. But you know what? It's a horror movie. It's intentionally supposed to scare me, and I think Jordan Peele, you get an A+ for that. But you did your job. But other than it being a really scary movie, I think it's a really fun movie as well. There's a lot of good comedic beats. There's some very fun sequences. Specifically, the final act. Anyone who says that final act is terrible is crazy, because this is the UFO version of the ending of Jaws in a way.
Smile, you son of a...
Boom. But yeah, no, it was a very fun and spooky time at the theater. One of the best films of the year. Movie good. So I'm gonna pass it on back to Austin.
I loved when the pirate guy scratched the chalkboard and was like, "You're gonna need a bigger horse."
One last thing. There is one joke that Tanner and I were the only ones who laughed in the theater at. It was when Keke Palmer calls the cinematographer guy, and she said that she got his phone number from the call sheet. We were the only two people that were laughing at that in the entire theater, because we've worked on film sets and we know how annoying that it is.
I explained that joke to my girlfriend after the movie.
Just the gruff, disappointed noise he makes over the phone, just...
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything I could ever do to thank you.
I do. Don't ever call me again.
All right, we've only got one person left. The person making the reference to the hoodie that OJ wears throughout the movie with the Scorpion King profile pic. Rein, you want to take us out of the general thoughts section?
Thank you guys for covering almost everything, almost all my notes.
All right, I'll just go myself then. God.
Like everyone else, I think the two horror highlights, definitely the monkey business and the UFO, all the people dying in that showcase. I want to say the monkey shot, it reminds me a lot of that, if you've seen Twin Peaks, you know what I'm talking about, the shot where he's crawling out of the couch. It's scary in the same way that the monkey shot's scary, where you're just kind of locked in at this angle, and you just feel like you're chained to your seat as the action's happening. Anyway, yeah, the design of the monster's great. I'll talk about the characters. The characters, they're great, as they're always great in Peele's stuff. He knows how to make a very memorable cast, be it from the main characters to just the little side supporting people. He remembers that, hey, I gotta make them a little memorable too. I want to say I saw a lot of myself in OJ, especially when I'm feeling really awkward, when I gotta when I'm on set, I gotta do the safety meeting, I gotta speak, and you gotta deal with all these assholes. That's great. I relate to him a lot deeply. And as someone with a goofy name, I gotta say I deeply relate to Angel's reaction whenever people see his name tag. He's go, yeah, that's my name. I know. It's crazy they got the voice of Ulysses from Fallout New Vegas to be the cinematographer guy. That was cool. Same energy. It's cool I'm not the only one who's like horrified by like just imagery and sounds of mass death. I thought that was just like tailor-made for me because it's like not reoccurring, but it's a semi-reoccurring nightmare I have. So yeah, just the sound of like a bunch of people screaming is like just kind of a surefire way to get me horrified. So that's cool because I don't get scared from movies very often. So the fact that this, I felt genuine fear from me, which doesn't happen all the time. So good on you, Jordan.
So, my thoughts on Nope real fast. The way that the public was slowly, carefully introduced to this movie's premise and its monster reminded me of how cool it was experiencing the gradual marketing rollout of the 2008 Matt Reeves film Cloverfield. Cloverfield was a little bit more conservative. They really kept that monster out of the promos almost completely, whereas this movie provided like a flying saucer red herring version of the beast in one of the trailers. But what makes Nope so much cooler than Cloverfield was the fact that it's not a found footage movie. In fact, it's like the complete opposite of the found footage aesthetic. Christopher Nolan's cinematographer shot this in big, wide IMAX. So the money shots of the monster are like 100 times better when you finally get to see it. For my money, though, yeah, Gordy's the scariest part of this movie, hands down. That's what I love about every Jordan Peele movie, is he's especially skilled at openings, if you go back through all of them. The second trailer for this had me convinced that it could be like a more lighthearted sci-fi picture, so when the actors doing the sitcom dialogue came in over the Universal logo, I was fully bamboozled. And then, the nightmare that came in immediately afterward gave me this feeling that justified the whole ticket price, and we're like 5 minutes in. I also really appreciate Jordan Peele's ability to put clever foreshadowing in his screenplay dialogue. It's so clever, but so covert. So later when I figure out what he did, I felt like I win a prize or something. You know, like when Juke butchers mi casa es su casa and accidentally says your house is my house in Spanish, and he's trying to buy their ranch. Or like how Jupe's wife says at the beginning of the Star Lasso show, oh, we're not gonna let a few clouds kill our fun today. And then everyone proceeds to get killed by a cloud. I mean, and the best of all those examples is the UAP thing that Angel brings up. Just being at home later that night thinking why the f would they abandon a popular acronym like UFO? And it's because of scenarios like what happens in this movie where the UFO isn't a machine. God. Sometimes it kind of feels like the new Hollywood generation of the 70s, had a certain mojo that modern day directors can't replicate. And yet, in 2019, Uncut Gems gave us that old Scorsese edge. In 2021, Licorice Pizza revived some of that old Robert Altman magic. And in 2022, a relative newcomer who's already got a huge ass name gave us that elusive Spielberg feel that made Jaws and Close Encounters the classics they are today. I hope this movie makes a dump truck full of money, and I applaud Jordan Peele for reaching out and trying to do the impossible. Just like in the movie, I think he absolutely found the right people to embark on the mission with. Okay, Trivia Corner. Jordan Peele collaborated with Caltech professor John O. DeBerry to design Jean Jacket. It was inspired by creatures from deep in the ocean. Some of these were comb jellies, who use tiny hairs to move much more quietly than you'd expect, and this thing called a ghost knife fish, who generates electric fields when it moves around. Gordy the Chimp is portrayed by a dude named Terry Notary. You could see him doing chimpy chimp stuff in other movies like the Planet of the Apes films, or Kong Skull Island, and my favorite, the Golden Palm winning 2017 film The Square.
You can't get away with this monkey business.
Did you guys hear that Angel was supposed to make die at the end of this movie?
Yeah, the guy was like, keep me alive so I can be in a sequel.
Yeah, he pulled a Jesse from Breaking Bad. I can't believe he pulled that off with Jordan Peele being the director he's trying to convince.
El Camino, a Nope movie.
Seemed like a pretty damn good opportunity to me. We bought ourselves some time. Yes, but...
Okay, this is weird, but this is the first horror movie ever to be shot in IMAX.
What?
Yes! This is the very first horror film in the history of mankind to be shot in IMAX format!
Are you sure that wasn't the Blair Witch Project?
Blair Witch Project, God,
AJ with the dunk. After Gordy is done murdering everybody, apparently he signs to young Jube, "What happened, family?" Which is just so oh my god. Oh, this is a big production thing that made my head explode. So the title cards, right? The inner titles for the various animals that die where it shows their name were actually physically printed out by a fine art person and then filmed straight on with IMAX cameras. You can see the light leak from the camera on all of them. They weren't just like an After Effects cup, they actually printed those things. The director on the film set in the beginning of the movie, that's Anthony Perkins' son.
Oz Perkins.
Yeah! He's also an indie film director, but it's more sensational to say he's the son of the guy from Psycho. And then, yeah, there's that Kid Sheriff poster. I don't know if I'll be able to find an image of it, but it looks like the poster for the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf.
I'll show you Holes.
And that was trivia. Time for final thoughts on Nope. Leave us with some departing words of wisdom. Rein.
Oh yeah, I'll just say my favorite scene, I think, was the bit where the cowboy kid was more passionate about talking about the SNL sketch of his trauma than the actual trauma. That was funny and also insightful and weird.
About time Chris Kattan gets the respect he deserves.
This is how you cope in capitalism. Tanner, what are your final thoughts on Nope?
Reject modernity. Back to monkey.
Joe, final thoughts.
Is the truth out there? Nope. Go see Nope. I don't know. That's my final thoughts. I'm out of ideas.
Tim, what are your final thoughts on this movie?
5 stars, Angel, 5 stars.
Yeah! EJ Ford, final thoughts on Jordan Peele's Nope.
Well, I now know why his name is Jordan Peele, because when you really break him down, his movies got layers.
Coming in with that Shrek 2001 allegory.
Oh! You're so wrapped up in layers, onion boy, you're afraid of your own feelings.
Horror has always been the way that I personally deal with my own fears.
All right, for my money, Nope is a series of brilliant decisions mixed with technical mastery. It's a horror movie that almost everybody could enjoy. Go see it in IMAX for the full effect. But do you know what else is a spectacle? You, the viewers! Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch us talk about movies. Before the outro, AJ, let's hear some plugs. Hype yourself up for the camera.
Okay, so I have a YouTube, I have a Letterboxd, I have a TikTok, I have a Twitter. If you type in the words http://www. Insert website here.com/angryjoe, you'll find me.
It's actually that guy with the glasses.
My TikTok name is AJ Applejuice.
Thank you, AJ. Now let's sail out of here in style. If you are listening to this podcast on any of the audio platforms we're on, give us 5 stars and a chance to be the next Iron Chef. If you're watching on Spotify video, I hope you enjoyed all the cursing we did. Check us out on YouTube to see this pod in ad-friendly 4K UHD crystal clear Best Buy resolution. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you guys the most because we actually earn money when you're here. If you want to help us make this channel our real jobs, go on over to Patreon and help us make our dreams of feeding horses to aliens a reality. Comment below and let us know. What do you think happened with that shoe? Next week on the Bomb Squad podcast, we're talking about the 1992 horror mystery film based on the popular TV series, Twin Peaks, Fire Walk With Me. Our first podcast to be recorded entirely in reverse. Damn fine coffee. This has been the Bomb Squad podcast, episode 79. What is a bad miracle? Turns out the answer was just expired mayonnaise. See you next time, everybody.
Farewell.
I didn't say Oprah. You said Oprah. You love Oprah.
I slid my ticket across the table and I said, "Sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl."